Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for this prestigious event. Welcome one, welcome all to the 2025, the first annual Punch Ons MMA Awards. In this video, we'll be going through all of the most exciting highlights from the year for 2025, some of the lowlights as well, and a few little cooked originals too. So we've got three sections coming for you in these awards. We have number one, the Prestige Awards. This is just the regular, UFC awards, the highlights of the year, some of the, regular conventional awards that you'll see, including Fighter of the Year, Fight of the Year, Card of the Year, all of that good stuff. I'll put the graphics up on the screen here. In the second section, we'll be going to some of the Punch Ons originals. So these are some awards designed by yours truly, some to do with the channel, some with a couple of inside jokes we've been running. And finally, we're going to descend down into the darkness, the purgatory of MMA, and we're going to go with the crimes against MMA section. So lots of variety here, lots of awards to get into. I won't keep wasting your time. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel for all the hard work we've been doing. Hope you enjoyed the first annual Punch Ons MMA Awards. Let's punch on. Here we go with the Prestige Awards, the first section here, the very, very important, prestigious awards that we have done thorough research for, and there will be no arguments with these. These have been approved by the Guild of MMA fan enthusiasts. So the first award we're going to be presenting is the Upset of the Year. Lots of nominees to go through here. We have Ethan Ewing taking out Malcolm Wellmaker, one of the biggest rising prospects in MMA, and he took him out with relative ease and got a 29-28 decision win. Alex Pereira upsetting Magomed Ankalaev. A lot of people were writing off Alex Pereira, including myself. I picked Big Ank in that fight. Alex Pereira gets it done, in devastating fashion. Round 1 KO and some nasty ground and pound. We also have Hamdy Barcelos, the old beef jerky man himself. Fraud checking Peyton Talbot. A lot of people did not see that one coming. We have Brendan Allen taking out Raoni by TKO at the end of the fourth round, I believe. That shocked a lot of people. That was the first main event lock I've ever put on, and the first lock we ever got wrong as well, so that was pretty crazy. Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. That was a bit of a low-key one, man. People forget about that one. Tim Elliott took down Kai Asakura. And, of course, Petr Yan taking out Merab Dvalishvili in the UFC 323 main event to win back the bantamweight title. So lots of good contenders here, but there can only be one winner in this award. And the winner is... Congratulations, Petr Yan. He is the winner of the Upset of the Year. And there's not much arguing you can do with this one. Yes, some of those other ones were good. Alex Pereira, big moment, that one. Ethan Ewing. But in terms of the stakes, the, big title fight, in terms of the fact that Petr Yan got 50-45 by Merab in their first fight, no one was really betting on Petr Yan. I had a lock on Merab in this fight as well. And not only does Petr Yan manage to get it done, he gets it done in devastating fashion, dominantly, almost a 50-45. You could argue that was a 50-45, but definitely at least a 49-46. Turns the tails on Merab, who has had a phenomenal 2025 and wins back the bantamweight strap and puts himself right back in contention as one of the greatest, if not the greatest bantamweight of all time. We might make some GOAT videos soon, fellas. But congratulations, Petr Yan. He's the winner of the Upset of the Year, but I was not upset about that. Moving on to the next award, we have Rookie of the Year. So this person is a guy who debuted in 2025. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about MMA debut, but their first fight in the UFC took place in the calendar year of 2025. So some of the nominees that we have to talk about for Rookie of the Year. Of course, we have Malcolm Wellmaker. This guy, there was a lot of hype on Malcolm Wellmaker as he came up, but he got fraud checked as well. Jacoby Smith, this guy's been putting in some good work and looking pretty devastating as well. A big guy with big grappling credentials, but he's also got some devastating power as well. Yusri Belgarui, this guy had a bit of hype coming through the Contender Series. Obviously, he's not a young guy. He's been around for a long time, and he was a glory kickboxer, I believe. But his debut in the UFC against Azamat Bakoyev was incredibly impressive. David Martinez, this guy, the 30-year-old prospect or whatever he is, but you can't argue he looked great against Rob Font. Quillan Salkeld, mate, what a year he's had. He's, there's no surprises that he's on this list, mate. Quillan Salkeld knocks out Nasrat Haqparast, destroys Anshul Jubilee. I'm pretty sure he had another win in there. I think he's got 3 wins this calendar year, but all I can remember is him knocking out Nasrat Haqparast with that filthy head kick. Kevin Vallejos, man, crazy to think that this guy's even a rookie because it just feels like he's been in the UFC for a long time. He's so natural there. He belongs there. And geez, he looked devastating against Giga Chikadze in his fight on the weekend. First guy to knock out Giga Chikadze in his career. And Kevin Vallejos does it with like a foot reach and height disadvantage. So he's a strong contender here as well. Atiba Gauthier, man, Mini Ngannou, not that Mini Ngannou. He's definitely got to be up there for Rookie of the Year as well. He's, just putting guys in body bags and destroying them. He can't get anyone to fight him, so he's definitely got to be there. Mario Pinto, bro, he's a decent prospect at heavyweight. He's looked good. Baisenga, Susakayev, Mini Hamzat's apprentice. This guy's got to be in the running as well. And Yadir Del Valle. You can't let his, the controversy surrounding Isaac Dulgarian take away from the fact that this guy is going to be a problem at welterweight, I believe he is, or maybe lightweight. But with all those nominees, so it's a very healthy talent pool this time. The nominee pool is very, very strong. The winner of the Rookie of the Year, you guys must have seen this one coming. It is none other than Quillen fucking Sal killed. Quillen Sal killed Nasrat Hakparas. That's what he fucking done, hey. Oof, that head kick was devastating. Quillen Sal kid, mate, look at the bloke. Sick mustache, sick hairdo, sick skills. He's going to be a crazy UFC fighter. So good that we got him in the UFC now. Putting Australia back on the map. Not that we were ever left, but we just keep bringing in sick prospects like this. So the Rookie of the Year, 3 wins, big wins, one of the KOs of the year as well. It's got to go to my boy Quillen Salkill. Congratulations, brother. Look me up on Insta. The next award that we have is the Breakout Fighter of the Year. So this is not necessarily somebody who has debuted this year, but they're a relatively new fighter without a whole bunch of hype or legacy, but they've really taken themselves from 0 to 100 this year, or just had a really strong year where they've improved a lot and put themselves way above where they were at the start of the year. So the nominees that we have in this one, number 1 is Joshua Van. This guy, he's been so active that it feels like he's been around for a long time, but he's only been in the UFC for, I think, less than 2 years, and he's had a shit ton of fights, and he just keeps going from, getting better and better and better. And he went from a contender outside the rankings to the champ somehow in 2025. So you can't argue that he's had a breakout year for himself. Peyton Talbot, this guy, despite having a loss to Hamdy Barcelos and a bit of a setback, he's put himself right back in the mix there. He's in at number 10 at bantamweight, I believe, with that big win over Henry Cejudo. And, to say that he's beaten Henry Cejudo is an incredibly big feather in his cap, and he dominated him by wrestling and by striking and busted him up and destroyed him, okay? So Peyton Talbot has to be in the running. Michael Morales, bro, another guy who's been around for a while, and we knew that this guy was coming through, but he's really put himself on the map in 2025. He's put himself in the title picture at welterweight. He's probably one of the strongest contenders to fight Islam Makhachev. He knocked out Sean Brady in devastating fashion, a guy who hasn't really been losing to guys. He's been starching guys all over the shop at welterweight. He come off his own massive submission win over Leon Edwards, and then Michael Morales made this guy look like he was really, really human, Sean Brady. So, yeah, and basically knocked him out so bad that he made him want to change weight classes, and I think he's thinking about going down to lightweight. I don't know how he's going to get down there, but anyway, Michael Morales, massive year 2025. The purple shorts are sick as well. He's just got his sick new back tat finish as well. He's definitely leveled himself up in 2025. Looking forward to see where he ends up. Carlos Prates, man, you could talk about him in the same sentence as you have for Morales. Knocked out Leon Edwards, one of the sickest KOs of the year. He's another guy who had a setback as well, lost to Ian Gary, but didn't lose any stock for that fight. He whooped up Ian Gary in round 5, and he's grown his legacy and his hype and his image a lot in 2025, Carlos Prates. So he's had a big breakout year as well. A couple of sneaky ones here as well. Bogdan Guskov, man. Despite the draw that he just had, he's had a couple of big fights this year as well. I believe he knocked out Nikita Krylov. He had one other big win as well. It might have been, I want to say Ryan Spann, but maybe not. But I think Guskov's had 3 fights in 2025. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of them was the draw to Blachowicz. But that's not a bad thing, man. Like, Jan Blachowicz is a legend, and to go to a hard-fought draw with him where, you almost finish him and get him out of there, that's massive for Bogdan Guskov. So he's definitely in the mix as well, and he's got a fucking sick haircut as well. And then, of course, my guy, Salsa boy, Waldo Cortez Acosta. Man, he's broken out in my heart this year, bro. He went from a guy who I was like, fuck, get this guy, this disrespectful cunt out of here. I don't want to borrow this dude having a shit fight, with like a disrespectful fight with Andrei Arlovsky. to now being one of my favourite fighters in the UFC. So he's got to be in the mix there for breakout fighter. He's not too far away from a title shot. Anyways, with all that being said, the breakout fighter of the year goes to Joshua Van. What more needs to be said, boys? Went from fighting bums outside the rankings to stepping in on short notice to fight Brandon Royval, having one of the fights of the year, one of the most entertaining fights in flyweight history, and then winning the belt. Now, it's a little bit of a shame the way that he won the belt. We all would have liked to have seen him KO Pantoja for reals, but hey, the history books will show Joshua Van out-grappled, threw down Alexandre Pantoja and TKO'd him in round 1. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, congrats Joshua Van, breakout fighter of the year. Submission of the year. This one was pretty tough to choose as well, just because submissions are such a hard thing to gauge on how good they are. There's all different types. They're done with different intensity. Some of them look way more devastating than others. Anyway, the nominees that I was able to cook up were Jean Silva versus Bryce Mitchell. He finished him by a pretty nasty looking ninja choke. Anthony Hernandez. Oh, just the way he did Roman Dolidze, that was disgraceful. I don't know how Roman Dolidze will ever come back from that. It was a rear naked choke, but it was the most disrespectful rear naked choke of all time. He just dragged his ass across the canvas. I think this one looked a bit worse because of just the way that Hernandez had destroyed him before that. Walter Walker versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. Look, he had 3 heel hooks this year. I don't know if they were all this year. I think a couple of them were. But, so look, I kind of included all these 3 together, but just the way that I think the Nzechukwu one was the most impressive looking one. It looked really cool. He just slipped straight down the leg and straight into the heel hook and yeah, made him tap immediately. Underrated couple as well. Yusuf Salal submitting Josh Emmett by a triangle armbar. Just how quickly he got it done and how easy he made it look and just how cool it looked. That was a pretty good one. Yusuf Salal. And Charles Jourdain with a ghillie against Davey Grant. Now, this one, I think the reason I think this one's so good is because the KO, like the knee up the middle KO was so sick and it just dropped him, and then the ghillie was kind of easy, but it was just the whole finishing sequence was fucking awesome. So definitely Charles Jourdain is in the mix there as well. But the winner of the submission of the year is, drum roll, of course it's going to go to Jean Silva, a guy known for his striking, but showed another feather in his cap here with a sick ninja choke kind of bulldog. I think it's called a ninja choke submission over Bryce Mitchell, who's known as a submission guy, who's known as a grappling guy. These two had a whole bunch of beef as well. The fight was cool as, and look, yeah, Jean Silva, can't argue that this guy is a stylish fighter and a really sick guy to watch. And this was just another reason why we love him. So sick work. Congratulations, Jean Silva, a striker who gets the submission of the year. Well done, but he goes to show that he's well-rounded. And that Fighting Nerds gym is pretty legit. Let's move on to a big one. It is knockout of the year. Plenty of good contenders in 2005. I love it when we've got plenty of good KOs to add to the highlight reels. Here's some of the highlights we're going through. We've got Mauricio Hoofy throwing the spinning heel kick to knock out Bobby Green. Got to get some bonus points because of the fact that I hate Bobby Green. Ilya Topuria, just putting on some nasty work on Charles Oliveira, putting the mustard on him. Quillan Salkill, we talked about him, the way that he knocked out Nasrat Hakparast, who is a completely legit guy as well. I rate Nasrat Hakparast. He's like a little poor man's Kelvin Gastelum, but Quillan Salkill sent him to the shadow realm with that head kick. Very reminiscent of the way that Justin Gaethje knocked out Dustin Poirier to win the BMF belt. We also had Lerone Murphy with his spinning elbow KO over Aaron Pico. That was nasty, that one. Crazy to watch live. Probably an honourable mention there goes to Carlos Prates knocking out Jeff Neal as well. I think that was the fight right before that one. That was pretty sick. Ricky Simon, the way he KO'd Javid Basharat. Another one like the Bobby Green one where I fucking hate the Basharat, bro. So that was sick, but it was also a gnarly KO, just a mad shot that just sent Javid Basharat's eyes spinning in the back of his head and he's just like twitching out in the ground. And then Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop knocking out Jack Hermanson. That one was tough to watch, eh? I was genuinely worried about Jack Hermanson's safety and he's I think that put him in a strong contender for CTE. Poor Jack Hermanson sent him down to lightweight. It didn't go much better for him. So yeah, RoboCop, that was a pretty gnarly one as well. Not too hard to know which one we're going with, boys. Just the style factor, the guy you did it to, and just how big of a moment it was. We've got to give the KO of the year to Mauricio Hoofy, Mini McGregor. Don't care that he got fraud checked this year by Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit's pretty good. I don't know that we're going to end up holding that against him too much. I still think Mauricio Rufy's going to end up being pretty legit. He's got the skills, and even if he's not that good at wrestling, who cares? He can do this shit to blokes, mate. He can do spinning wheel kicks that just look so easy. So stop matching him up against grapplers. Put him in there against old washed-up strikers that nobody likes, like Bobby Green, and let him do work like this. So good shit. Mauricio Rufy, I think everyone can agree that that was probably the highlight of the year. Let's keep punching on. The one-round war of the year. Man, this one is a category close to my heart. I just made a full-blown documentary of the top 10 best one-round fights in the UFC. Go and watch that. It's doing all right. Check the channel out. It's called the best one-round, the most insane one-round wars in UFC history. Sorry, fucking mouthful, that one. Go and just check the channel. You'll work it out. It's got Ebo versus Ewo. Speaking of them, first nominee, Ewo versus Ebo. Fully sick one-round war. Can't give this one enough praise, boys. This was just absolute mayhem, chaos. Yeah. We also had Chris Duncan versus Terrence McKinney on the same card. This was the one-round wars card. Filthy, filthy fight. McKinney, look, he's McChinney, but he's also one of the coolest, most hectic schizo fighters in the UFC, so got to respect him. And then Cesar Almeida versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. 95% sure this was a one-round fight, and it was a mad comeback victory for Cesar Almeida. Look, we're not going to hold his last shit performance against Cesare Olizajcek against him. He did some sick work against Abdul Razak. Abdul Razak was whooping him, and he's a scary dude, but Almeida came back and got backed up against the fence and just slept him bad. So another sick fight there, but yeah, you don't get any prizes for guessing who wins the one-round war of the year. I was absolutely frothing this fight. The winner, of course, goes to Ewo versus Ebo. Whew, man, this one is going to go down in UFC history. It's probably one of the best minutes of fighting of all time. One of the most chaotic, hectic, wild 1 minutes of fighting, and to be honest, about 40 seconds of fighting of all time. Both guys dropped each other bad. Both guys were on the cusp of being finished. Somehow Ewo ends up getting the goods. But yeah, more shit like this, please, boys. This is the sort of shit that makes fans, and this is the stuff that gets me hyped. So well done. Put these boys on bloody Mount Rushmore. Put them in the Hall of Fame. Put them on the White House card. I want to see this over and over and over again. Now, a very important one, this one, we have the punch on of the year, aka the fight of the year. But yeah, we're all about punch ons here, boys. Punch ons is basically Aussie slang for fights. So we're going with the punch on of the year. Lots of good contenders here and some different types of contenders too. Of course, the first nominee is Royval versus Van. Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. Such a cool fight, this one. Just a fan-friendly fight. Flyweight fellas going at it with little pool noodles as hands, whooping the shit out of each other, busting their faces up. No thought of grappling whatsoever. Just going ham, dropping each other all over the shop. Close as, so hard to split it. It was going one way, then going the other. Momentum swings all over the shop. Royval versus Van, all time. Probably the best flyweight fight of all time. Prohaska versus Roundtree Jr. Yuri versus Khalil, bro. This fight made me feel some pretty special feels. Hey, I've never felt the way that I felt in this fight. Like, it's Yuri more so than anything, but geez, Khalil put on a good showing for himself here as well. He did so good in rounds 1 and 2. It's just Yuri's built different, bro. He just came back and hunted him down and put him away. Like, yeah, this was the feels that I felt. If this was just like which fight gave me the craziest fucking mental war and schizo feeling, it would have to go to this one. But yeah, we'll keep moving on. Lopez versus Silva, bro. This is underrated. I don't hear people talking about Diego Lopez versus Jean Silva that much. This was another fight like the Yuri fight that made me feel pretty hectic, bro. These two fights were the ones that got me the most hyped and got me my heart racing the most. Hey, like I swear I had like a nightmare about Lopez versus Silva. It got in my head, just the way that Lopez took him down and busted him up and destroyed him and busted his fucking bald head up. Maybe I was just feeling some trauma about getting me bald head split open by Diego Lopez elbows. But yeah, this was a sick first round performance from Lopez. And then Silva, because I picked Silva. I was going for Silva, not because I don't like Lopez. I just wanted my pick to get up. And John Silva's sick. And he was doing real good in round 2. He was coming back and just kept putting himself in the fire. And eventually Lopez set the trap and worked his way back in and then set up the spinning elbow and slept John Silva. And we had all that drama as well. He was covered in blood. He got up and punched Diego in the back of the head. This fight, as far as a 2-round fight, it had everything, and I love this fight. That's why I'm always going to watch every Diego Lopez and John Silva fight. They should run it back, I reckon, to be honest. Hopefully Lopez gets the belt, not off Volk, but eventually Lopez gets the belt. Silva gets a couple more wins. Hopefully he beats Arnold Allen, and these two run it back in the future because there's no way this fight's ever going to be boring. Merab versus Umar. Feels like this fight was last year, but apparently this one was this year. It's just Merab's been so active that, you know, he's had so many fights. This was such a cool fight as well. I remember watching this and just going, Merab is built different, bro. And Umar got humbled. He got broken in this fight, and Merab was doing his thing. So as far as a Merab and a Daggy fighter go, it was probably one of the best ones ever. But, yeah, it's still a little bit stinky, you know what I mean? Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Motta. This one was on the prelims or something, and not a lot of people saw it, but this was a fucking wild fight as well. I'm pretty sure this was a round and a half or maybe two, and yeah, these boys just threw down, and it was back and forth, and it was going crazy, and eventually Motta gets finished. Sick fight, that one. Like, if you know, you know. If you've seen that fight, you know that it deserves to be on the list here. Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Yeah, you heard that right. That is correct. A Bilal Muhammad fight is a contender for fight of the year. Whew, we're living in a crazy world, hey. But it wasn't really Bilal's fault that the fight was so good. It was obviously JDM piecing him up. But Bilal's toughness is the reason why it was sick as well. So got to have that one on there. Ewo versus Ebo is a nominee as well. Even though it was only like basically 40 seconds of fighting, they pack so much violence and mayhem into this that it's got to be on the list as well. And then Merab versus Yarn 2. I see a lot of people giving this one fight of the year. Merab versus Piotr Yarn 2, the one that we just had 2 weekends ago. Yeah, look, it's definitely deserved to be on there. It was just a 5-round back and forth war, blood going everywhere off Merab's beak, and Piotr Yarn just doing his thing. So lots of good fights and very different fights and different types of fights to go through, but all very, very worthy nominees. The winner for me, and this is just my personal preference in terms of the way that I like fights, it was very hard to not give it to Yuri versus Khalil. The only reason I didn't give it to those boys is because round 3 was the round that was really sick. Like round 1 and 2 was cool, and Khalil was doing really well, but Yuri was being retarded in those 2 rounds, and it wasn't really that competitive of a fight. Like, it was competitive, but yeah, it was just the reason why that fight was so sick is just because Yuri got the finish and Yuri won. Like, it wasn't the fight itself that was so cool. For me, the best fight of 2025 has got to go to Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval. Non-stop action. Yes, maybe they got pillow hands and they weren't doing a whole heap of damage to each other, but they were, bro. Look at this photo here of Royval's fight. Van was piecing up Royval, but Royval was just smacking Joshua Van's blockhead as well, and Van was just taking it, bro. It's not that Van didn't take some shots. It's just that he's built different. He's got a blockhead. He's basically the fucking main character of Minecraft. And they just kept going. The output was insane in this fight. The action was non-stop, and the stakes were really high as well. It was just such a sick fight. Short notice too. Wish it was a 5-rounder, but yeah, I've given this one my fight of the year. I reckon this one was crazy. Next up, we're going to talk about card of the year. There was a lot of great cards in 2025. Most of them were the pay-per-views. There was a couple of sneaky good fight night cards too. Shout out to like the Paris card was pretty sick. The Machado Gary versus Prates card was pretty awesome as well. We're going to talk about the pay-per-views though. For the pay-per-views, we're going to go just kind of most recent to least recent, and we have UFC 323, Dvalishvili versus Yarn 2, the most recent pay-per-view, sick card. UFC 322, Della Maddalena versus Makachev. That was the one with Carlos Prates and Michael Morales getting their sick knockout wins on that card. UFC 320, when Pereira got the belt back off Big Ank. UFC 317, Topuria knocking out Oliveira. That was a sick card too. UFC 314, Volkanovski getting the belt back off Lopez. Gotta love that one. That one has to be in there. And also UFC 313 was pretty sick too. That was where Big Ank actually got the belt off Pereira the first time. So lots of good cards there. Go and have a look at those if you want. I'm not going to go through every single fight and all the big moments, but there were plenty of them on each of those cards. But in my opinion, the clear best card of the year has got to go to UFC 323, the most recent one. Not trying to have recency bias here, but come on, guys. This one was crazy. We had so much good shit happen on this card. The prelims were insane, boys. The only thing that kind of let it down a bit was the Pantoja moment with the broken arm, kind of the Bogdan Guskov versus Jan Blachowicz draw was a bit cooked as well, but it was just finished off with such a sick bang. I reckon this is one of the best cards ever. So many cool moments. We got Ebo versus Ewo on there. We had Chris Duncan versus McKinney. There was so much going on in this card. This one kept me hype all the way, and it was a sick way to send off 2025. So well done, fellas. This is a deadly card. On to one of the most important ones. It is the fighter of the year. The guy who I reckon had the best year in 2025 in the UFC. The UFC's poster boy. The guy who probably deserves to be on the front cover of UFC 6, the game when that comes out. We'll see whether that happens. I can't see him putting Waldo Cortez Acosta on the front cover of that. But here are my nominees, boys. Number 1 is Merab. Merab has had a crazy 2025, man. He's fought for the belt 4 times, defended him 3 times. Unfortunately, lost it the 4th time, but had the knackers to give it a go. Big cojones out of Merab. Put on probably one of the fights of the year as well. So, of course, Merab's on the list. Islam, got to have him on there. Potential GOAT. Went up a division, beat JDM. Shit fight, shit performance, good performance. But yeah, Islam, he also beat, I think, Moicano earlier in the year before he decided to go up. So he's had 2 title defenses, well, 1 title defense and a new title win in a new division. So can't argue that he's got to be on here. Petr Yan, bro, I actually got a bit confused. I thought Petr Yan had 3 wins this year, but I went and checked. He's only had the 2. He had that win over Marcus McGee, but then also the massive win over Merab. But I just think even if he came back and had that 1 win over Merab, and that was his only fight, he'd still be up here in contention, because just the way that he beat Merab and the way that the dice were loaded against him. He'd been flogged by Merab the last time, and he turns it around and gets it done in such a way. So you got to have Petr Yan here too. Joshua Van, bro, we talked about him in the Breakout Fighter of the Year. If you Breakout Fighter of the Year, you're also going to be in big contention for Fighter of the Year too. This guy's had, I believe, 4 fights in 2025 as well. He's proven to the UFC that he's that guy that steps up and takes fights on short notice and does sick work with them. So Joshua Van, we're going to chuck him in the nominees. Waldo Cortez Acosta, what more is there to say about this bloke? I've already talked about him. So Fighter of the Year, very strong competition. I think in terms of legacy, activity, the style, dominance, leveling up himself, there is no other option than Merab Dvalishvili, and he is the only type of guy, he's the type of guy who can lose the belt and still be the Fighter of the Year. And that's crazy to say, but it is true about Merab. He's fought 4 times, finished Sean O'Malley, humbled Umar Nurmagomedov, almost finished Corey Nerdhagen, beat him up, and then had an all-time fight with Petr Yan, which I'm sure will be run back one day, and he'll get that one back, or he'll at least have a crack at it. Merab, he's built different. He's the guy. This has been his year. If he won that last fight, there'd be no doubt whatsoever, but I still think the way that he handled himself, there is no doubt. So congrats, Merab. I made a sick little video about him. Go watch that if you haven't. He's the man. I fucking love Merab. All right, that's the end of the Prestige Awards. Prestige Worldwide. Here we go on to Section 2. It is the Punch Ons Originals. So this is some awards that you might not have seen before. Some new ones, some aptly named ones that we'll talk about, and just a little bit of banter about the channel as well. So here we go with the Punch Ons Originals. The first award in this very, very prestigious category is my personal best prediction of the year. So for context, I started Punch Ons MMA in August this year. The first card I covered was UFC China, Walker versus Zhang. I didn't do a whole lot. I just did a recap video for that. But the actual first card that I covered in terms of predictions and a recap video and everything in between was UFC Paris, Imavov versus Bohao. So that's where my predictions began, and I've obviously predicted every single fight since then. Prediction record was pretty good. We ended up with about 65%. Main event predictions really eluded me this year, but we're going to take everything just as a whole package. It was a good year of prediction. I'll do better with the main events in 2026. Here's what I think were my best predictions and why. So the first one I'm going to chuck on. It's just a bit of a legacy one. It is Sam Patterson to beat Trey Waters by TKO. The reason why I'm chucking that one in there as an important one is because that was my first ever correct prediction on the channel. Now, obviously, I had some picks put in for Walker versus Zhang, but I hadn't made a predictions video. So the first fight that I actually predicted right was Sam Patterson beating Trey Waters by KO, and that's what he did. And the 2 fights before that, I fucking got wrong. So I think it might have even been 3. I've started the channel 0-3, and then Sam Patterson, the fucking G, he saved us. He gets us our first pick. So he's going to be on the list. Volta Walker versus Louis Sutherland. A lot of people saw this one coming. I picked him by heel hook submission. He got a heel hook submission. Pretty cool when you call the exact submission type of a fight, but I think a lot of people got that one. I remember a few other boys on the YouTube scene had picked the same thing. So Volta Walker, he's pretty free money to pick him by heel hook. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But Figgy to beat Montel Jackson, man. people forget, man. A lot of people were picking Montel Jackson here just because he was a favourite and because he's a long, lank dad. But I knew Figgy was that guy. I knew he had the heart and the mungle to take out Montel Jackson. So got to have him on there. Khan Offley to beat Ricardo Ramos by submission. Ramos. The sick Khan Offley, bro. People were bloody fucking sleeping on Khan Offley. I went and did some tape study for this fight on Ricardo Ramos, and I knew that Ricardo Ramos is an idiot, and he chucks his head in guillotines, and he chucks his head in chokes all the time. So I just said Khan Offley's going to win this by submission, probably by guillotine. I think he ended up getting it might have been a rear naked or something else. I think it was like a standing rear naked choke or something. But that was free money, that one. So I was pretty stoked with that. Plus he's Aussie, that gets bonus points. Yadier Del Valle versus Isaac Dulgarian. Now, this was the Sussy Bucker fight. This is the fight that fucking sent the bloody police raiding the UFC officers. This is the one that got Isaac Dulgarian fired. But I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know anything about the fucking money lines. I just knew that Yadier Del Valle was a sick cunt. I had his name stuck in my head too, and usually when that happens, I get an interesting name stuck in my friggin' autistic head. There's something, the guy's got something. It happened with Dricus Duplessis. It's happened with Yadier Del Valle. So I reckon this guy's going to be something. I picked him by TKO. Isaac Dulgarian was tearing shit up. A lot of people reckon that he was going to be something good, and I said Yadier Del Valle was going to knock him out, and he choked him out, I think. Fuck. Anyway, I said he was going to finish him, and I picked that guy. Nothing to do with the fucking... Don't investigate me, all right? Nothing to do with that. Christian Leroy Duncan to KO Marco Tullio. This is the same story. A lot of people were picking Marco Tullio as being the next up-and-coming guy, but I saw something in CLD. I knew that he was good. I knew Marco Tullio wasn't that good, and I picked CLD to beat him by KO, and he did. Michael Morales to knock out Sean Brady. This one was pretty sick as well. Sean Brady tearing shit up, and Michael Morales hadn't really proven himself, and a lot of people were picking Sean Brady to out-grapple this guy, but I just knew, man. I was looking at Michael Morales going, how is this bloke not going to knock him out? I know Sean Brady's built different as well, and he's massive, but Morales is fast and young, and he's got to get it done. So I picked him by TKO. I think maybe I picked him in round 2 or 3, but hey, I'll still take that. And then Kyoji Horiguchi to beat Tagir Ulanbekov. I'm taking this one, boys. This was a coin flip, the sickest coin flip ever. I'm going to have to rename it the Kyoji Horiguchi coin flip. Maybe we're going to flip a yen coin or something like that. That might be racist. I think that's the fucking Japanese currency. I think Kyoji's Japanese anyway. Yeah, that was sick, and he put a fucking whooping on him. And then Joshua Van, round 1 KO over Alexandre Pantoja, boys. I picked that. I am him. I am good at predictions. I said Joshua Van was going to knock out Alexandre Pantoja inside the first round. And what fucking happened, boys? You tell me. You go look at the results. What happened? Yeah, he broke his fucking arm. All right. The winner of the best prediction for punch-ons in 2025, it has to go to Michael Morales knocking out Sean Brady. Now, hear me out here, boys. A few of those other ones are pretty good, but I'm kind of taking the piss with the Pantoja one. That was a bit of a stitch-up. The Horiguchi one was a coin flip. I thought about doing that. Patterson, that was a bit of a meme pick. There's a few other good ones in there, but, man, I just think this the amount of people that were picking Sean Brady and how good he'd looked. Not to say that Morales hadn't looked good too, but, yeah, I was feeling confident about this one, and I actually chucked a few bucks down this one. I did pretty well, so pretty happy to have picked that one. I think that was one of my better picks this year for sure, if not my best one. Now, let's flip the coin and talk about my worst prediction, and there were plenty of these to choose from, unfortunately. There were a few picks that made me feel like a total tosser this year, all right? So maybe I am, but I'll explain. I'll give you a little bit of context about my reasoning. Probably don't fucking give a fuck, but here they are. Dominick Reyes to beat Carlos Ulberg. Yeah, this one sucked, man. I was all aboard the Reyes hype train. I wanted him to win this more than I thought he was going to win it. As soon as this fight got announced, I said, yeah, Ulberg by KO, and then convinced myself throughout fight week that Dominick Reyes, literally, I was had my slides all done and everything for fucking Carlos Ulberg. I was going to pick him, and then I go, but what if Reyes gets it done, man? What if the Reyes story's not complete? And my cook brain switched up on one of the Anzac bros, Carlos Ulberg. So, yeah, sorry about that, Carlos. We can be friends one day still, bro. That was shit. Mateus Gamrot to beat Charles Oliveira, bro. What the fuck was I thinking there? Charles Oliveira, why would you pick against Charles Oliveira? Maybe against Islam or against Ilya or something like that, guys that were built different. But against Gamrot, bro, what were you thinking? I go back and watch that every now and again and fucking cringe deeply, eh? I'm like, you know what? Charles is not that good, man. Charles is nothing special. Charles is done. He's going to get knocked out, this and that. Yeah, that was pretty rough. Gamrot, it didn't go well for our boy the gamer, did it? Ismail Bonfim to beat Chris Padilla. I'm never fucking picking Ismail Bonfim ever again. I switched up on bloody Taco, man. Sorry, Taco. Yeah, he got that one done over Ismail Bonfim. JDM over Islam, bro. I picked that with my heart. I picked that patriotically. I did not legitimately think that JDM was going to beat Islam. I made like fucking 5 videos saying how confident I was. I put the stakes on the line. Let's be real. I was trying to drum up a bit of fucking interest on the channel. It worked a little bit. But yeah, JDM, he was never going to beat Islam. And not only that, he fucking did worse than I thought he was going to do. I'll talk about that a bit later, but yeah, that was a shit pick. But I stand by it. I'm not going to get bloody upset for not picking fucking one of these daggy sheep shagging cunts, goat shagging cunts. Alonzo Menefield versus Vulcan Ozdemir, bro. Alonzo, cars. I don't know why I picked this guy. Dude, I've actually renamed the cook part of my brain, like that single retarded, like dead brain cell in my head that makes me do dumb picks, like the one that made me fucking pick Dominick Reyes. I've named that brain cell Alonzo Menefield because this is the fight where I just fucking look back on and went, bruh, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. You don't know how to pick fights at all. You're just fucking flipping a coin. You might as well flip a coin for every fight because I picked Alonzo Menefield to KO Vulcan Ozdemir. Alonzo Menefield fucking sucks and I'll never pick him again till the day I fucking die. And then Edson Barboza versus Jalen Turner. Look, that one was pretty shit. I picked Edson Barboza, but I personally didn't pick Edson Barboza. I coin flipped Edson Barboza. So this was the universe leveling out my Kyoji Horiguchi coin flip. This was the next week, and I went, yeah, look, I reckon Jalen Turner's probably going to destroy Edson Barboza, but Jalen Turner's a weak quitting dog as well, so maybe he will quit and he'll be a weak dog, and I flipped the coin and it fucking gave me Barboza, and I went, ooh, brother, ooh, I don't like that. But anyway, stuck with it. Got to stick with the coin flip. Worst prediction. The winner for my worst prediction, I think you can probably tell from the way I was talking about it. Ooh, brother, ooh, Mateusz Gamrot, cars. What are you doing, cars? Picking Mateusz Gamrot to beat Charlie Olives, bar. I don't think I need to say much more about this. This was horrendous. What a shit pick. He made it look fucking easy. This guy was never going to be able to hang with Charlie Olives on the ground, and that's where Charlie was always going to take it. Yeah, I learned a lot from that one. I actually got so friggin' rattled with myself on that one. I made a whole apology video to Charles Oliveira. Not that you'll ever watch it, but just I was more apologising to you guys for picking Oliveira just because I was so ashamed of myself. Yeah, this one sucked. Let's move on. Now we have the Isaac Dulgarian Award. The Isaac Dulgarian Award, another very prestigious award, named after, of course, Isaac Dulgarian. Now, this one is basically in line with another video that I made, which is the professional losers tier list, the paid to lose, the guys that are paid to lose in the UFC. And go watch that video as well if you haven't. That one did all right. But Isaac Dulgarian, man, he's the guy who purposely fucking lost in the UFC, maybe, allegedly. I'm just playing a character as well, as Guru would say. And the guys who ended up fucking having a real dodgy shit-looking performance and just show that they just turn up for a paycheck. So, of course, Isaac Dulgarian's on the list there. Gerald Meerschaert, GM3, this guy just turns up, gets his ass whooping 2-3 times a year and then fucking goes back on holidays. Phil Rowe, bruh, fucking row your fucking boat back to the PFL, mate. You're shit. He got fucked up by Sok Yong Kyo and a couple other lads. Kevin Holland, bruh, fuck, I swear this dude just turns up and just does not give two shits about fighting. He just goes, I'll roll in and try and look cool and get some clips and then I'll fucking piss off. And then, Rafael Sequeira, bro. I don't think this guy's legitimately trying to lose. I think he's trying to win. He's just either really, really unlucky because he looks like a big, scary, strong guy, or he's just incredibly shit and his defense is just non-existent, which I think that's the answer. He just got fucking destroyed by, what's his name? Abdul Rahman Yakyayev. So, yeah, he's had a rough year, Rafael Sequeira. But come on, guys. The Isaac Dulgarian Award for the best professional loser in 2025. It's got to go to the guy who literally got paid to lose and allegedly, Isaac Dulgarian, bro. Biggest conspiracy scandal that we saw in 2025. The betting lines all shifted before the fight with Yadir Del Valle, and he got easily dominated. Look at this fucking little imp. He looks like something where you rub the lamp and a little genie pops out, and this guy pops out and grants you wishes to win the fight and get a performance bonus. So Isaac Dulgarian Award goes to its namesake, Isaac Dulgarian. Another award named after a fighter in 2025, and that is the Hamdy Abdelwahab Memorial Award. Now, let me explain this one. The Hamdy Abdelwahab Memorial Award is for the guy who ended the year by being cut by the UFC and had the most despicable decline and the saddest exit from the UFC. So Hamdy, this guy, left the UFC, got cut on a win over Chris Barnett, but the reason he got cut was because he had some PED violations, some suspensions, and some dog shit fights, and then the mother of all dog shit, disgraceful, embarrassing heavyweight fights against Chris Barnett. So he's definitely going to be a nominee for the Abdelwahab Award. Speaking of Chris Barnett, this guy fucking exposed his ass for the world to see, got destroyed by Hamdy Abdelwahab, who is Hamdy Abdelwahab, and then ever so ungraciously gets cut from the UFC. Thoroughly deserved to be as well. But I heard he just got a mad win in karate combat or something. So good job, Beast Boy. Danny Barlow, bro. This guy fell off an absolute brick wall. Everyone thought he was going to be something real good in the UFC, and he's just lost. I think he lost to, what's that guy's name? That fucking shit cunt. Forgot his name, but the bloke who just towed him up. Can't believe he beat him. Anyways, Andre Muniz as well. He got fucking murdered by Edmund Shabazian and cut, sadly. Always thought he was all right. Muniz, I thought he was going to end up being pretty good, but apparently not. Kiefer Crosby, dude, this guy got done so dirty, man. Like, you think Hamdy Abdelwahab got done dirty. Kiefer Crosby got fucking destroyed by an illegal knee, I think it was. Completely knocked out. The refs hustled him in and basically guilt-tripped and forced him to keep fighting, and then he got knocked out immediately straight after by, what's his name, Tamarala Numabeka, like fucking Shalian Nerdimbeke, or what's the other bloody, starts with T or something, the other fucking weird Nerdimbeke sounded name in the UFC, the Chinese guy, who looks like he's from like Taiwan or something. But yeah, Kiefer Crosby, bro, and then he got cut after all that. He got, basically lost because of an illegal shot. Was tough enough to friggin' do the Anthony Smith and not take the DQ and get back in the fight and keep fighting. Then gets brutally knocked out and then cut. Rough for Kiefer Crosby. And Ihor Pateria, bro, just kept getting fed to psychos, knocked out one time after the other, got illegally backflipped on by fucking, what's his name, Michel Pereira, I'm pretty sure. I think that was that fight. And then gets cut. So thanks, UFC. The Hamdy Abdelwahab Memorial Award, of course, it goes to Kiefer fucking Crosby, bruh. Fuck Hamdy. He doesn't even deserve his own award, man. He never once has won the Hamdy Abdelwahab Memorial Award. We're going to give it to Kiefer Crosby, bruh. I just told you what happened to poor Kiefer. Look at the bloke fucking destroyed by whatever that bloody Chinese fella's name was. And just look at that look of sadness and pain on his eyes. Yeah, it didn't have to be this way for Kiefer Crosby. He got done so dirty by Dana. He deserves some fucking remuneration for that, but this is the best I can give him, the Hamdy Abdelwahab Memorial Award. He's not dead, but yeah, his UFC career is very much dead. So rest in peace, Keith Crosby. You'll be missed, brother. The Tony Ferguson Award, another guy who's going to be missed and is missed. The T-Ferg Award for the biggest fall-off in the UFC. Now, this one is a little bit different to the last one. The last one was about fall-offs as well, but this is about the guy who started the highest and ended up the lowest. So the biggest drop in stock, basically fucking plummeting share price, in honor of Tony Ferguson's 7-fight fall out of the UFC, 7-fight loss streak. The nominees are Tagir Ulanbekov getting his little Dagestani rodent ass destroyed by Kyoji Horiguchi. We have Raoni DeRitter getting broken and destroyed by Brendan All-In Allen and quitting on the stool. Alexandre Pantoja, bro. Man, really unlucky for him, but he's had a legendary fall off only because he's bloody hasn't been drinking enough milk and snapped his arm thanks to Joshua Van. Dricus Duplessis, bro, just the performance he had against Hamzat. He went from this is my division, owning everybody, destroying guys, having his big win over Izzy to just getting in there with Hamzat. One of the biggest, most hyped up fights of the year, and he just gets wet blanketed for 5 rounds. But even though that was shit on Hamzat's behalf, DDP had nothing. He proved his grappling is nowhere near good enough, and I don't see him getting the belt back anytime soon, so that's sad for Dricus. Brandon Moreno, bro, just got TKO'd by Tatsuro Taira. A little bit early, but yeah, that's a fair fall-off for him. The commentators were really bloody riding his dick and glazing him, hoping they could get him across the line, but they couldn't. Jamal Hill, man, this guy lost to Khalil, lost to someone else, I think, as well. he's had a mad fall off. Not only that, he's had a fucking pretty rough year in terms of the social media and the bloody public image as well. Don't know what's been going on with him and Joanna Jacek. Sounds like he tried to hit and then she tried to hit, or he tried to hit, and then another time fucking they went to go talk outside the UFC or something, and then she fucking wigged out at him. Typical bloody European broad. But yeah, Jamal Hill, he's had a pretty sick fall off. Magomed Ankalaev, bro, this guy went from being the king of Dagestan, the king of the cliff, king of the castle, king of the cliff, to a deceased corpse being memed on by Alex Pereira. Josh Emmett, this guy, look, he's had a slow, steady fall off as well, but it's continued pretty hard in 2025. Bilal Muhammad Kaz, this guy, he's had a pretty sick fall off too. He was the champ, at the start of this year, and then he lost the belt to JDM. Got his ass handed to him in that fight. Got asked to belt, put fucking belt to ass put to him, asked to belt. He basically did put his ass onto the belt and accepted it. And then, lost in a pretty uninspiring performance to Ian Machado Gary. So Bilal, he's hit the deck as well. Roman Kopylov, bro, what happened to this guy? He used to be so sick. We thought, Lucas Tracy was glazing this guy. We thought he was going to be something legit. And he's losing to Paulo Costa, and then he just had another loss to fucking Robocop as well in a pretty shit performance too, so he's got to be on there too. But the winner of the T. Ferg Award for the biggest fall-off in 2025, it's going to go to Big Ank, Magomed Ankalaev. 1 minute he's winning the belt, rallying in all of Dagestan. There's fucking cunts coming out of their cliff holes everywhere. Everybody's bloody trimming their mustache off and trying to look like Big Ank. He's spitting shit at Pereira, talking smack, telling him to go back to the tyre shop. He's going to send him back to the tyre shop. Big build-up for this fight, only for him to get backed up against the cage in the first couple of minutes and sat on his ass and elbowed while he curled up in the ground like a little bitch and finished by Alex Pereira. Then we got the sick Pereira meme job at the end. So, yeah, pretty big fall off for Big Ank. And then he's got this whole bloody cope thing going on where he's like, oh, my rib was broken, brother, and all this shit. Fuck off, Big Ank. He just got slept by Pereira, one of the GOATs. So the fall off from him has been pretty legendary. I would love to see him go on a 5-fight loss streak now. Feed him to Yuri Prohaska. Hopefully Yuri fucking towels him up as well. So, yeah, Big Ank, he's had a shocker in 2025. Moving on to the next award, the Raoni Barcelos Award, the Big Beef Jerky Bopper, the UNC Status Award for the biggest fraud check of 2025. The guy, if you don't know what a fraud check is, it's basically someone who's coming up real fast and there's a lot of hype on him and he's a big prospect, and then he just gets stopped and shown the level that he's at. So, yeah, pretty sick couple of fraud checks happened in 2025. A lot of warranted ones as well, some ones that we're looking forward to, such as Bo Nickel. So the nominees are Ethan Ewing, fraud checking Malcolm Wellmaker. A lot of hype on Malcolm, as we spoke about, and Ethan Ewing comes off the fucking construction site off like a week's notice and tunes him up over 3 rounds, gets it done dominantly. Raoni Barcelos, the guy the award's named after, this old piece of fucking leather just laid on top of Peyton Talbot for 3 rounds and cramped his style, basically. Ryan DeRitter, fraud checking Bo Nickel. That felt like a long time ago as well, but that was in 2025. DeRitter just showing that Bo Nickel is not built for this game in terms of taking damage. He's not tough enough. He's still a little soy boy MMA WWE wrestler. Benoit Saint-Denis checking Mauricio Hoofy. Not the biggest one, that one. Like, Hoofy's still good, but he's obviously got no grappling. And I remember saying before this fight, like, either this is going to be a Mauricio Hoofy KO or we just nobody check his grappling and Benoit Saint-Denis is going to out-grapple him. And out-grapple him he did and finish him. I didn't expect him to finish him if he was going to out-grapple him. So that was a pretty big check there from Benoit, but we know Benoit's pretty good as well. And Brendan Allen, this one hurt me a bit, checking Raoni DeRitter. All the hype was on Raoni DeRitter after he checked Bo Nickel, and then he just gets broken. It was kind of sad, this one. I picked Raoni. I was really high on Raoni DeRitter. I thought he was going to be the guy to go give Hamzat some curry, but unfortunately we get Brendan Allen in the top 5 from this because he breaks DeRitter with elbows on the ground and DeRitter quits on the stool. Now, apparently there was something going on with DeRitter and his heart or something, so I've got to cut him some slack. The winner of the Raoni Barcelos Award for the biggest fraud check of the year, it's got to go to Ethan Ewing, bro. A lot of people probably thought I was going to pull out Raoni, the man himself here, but he just laid and preyed on Peyton Talbot. We know that Peyton's not a wrestler. He got laid on, and then in his next fight, he fucking took down Henry Cejudo. So maybe that's a fraud check for Henry Cejudo as well. It kind of is. But look, I'm going to go with Ethan Ewing. Now, it might turn out that Ethan Ewing is actually a fucking future champ, and he's the guy, and he's, that maybe him and Malcolm Wellmaker are going to have a 3-fight buddy trilogy. Well, you can't have a 4-fight trilogy, can you? But have a bloody mad back and forth for the belt. But I don't know about that. I just think Malcolm Wellmaker is not that good, or Ethan Ewing is pretty sick. But yeah, he was shown levels in this fight. He was shown that he's not that good. Ethan Ewing took everything that Malcolm Wellmaker had and made him look a bit silly. So the fraud check was legit from Ethan Ewing, who was a totally unknown guy. Maybe he'll get fraud check next. Let's see. But yeah, good shit, Ethan Ewing. You can take that one home, brother. The most fight of 2025. So if you don't know, I've got a bit of an obsession with doom. Basically what it means is just the shit that is unexplainable that happens at the UFC, all the cheating, all the retarded shit, the shit like Pantoja breaking his arm, all that kind of stuff that you're about to see here that just makes fights shit and ruins our nights as UFC fans. We call that the doom. When the doom index is how high the level of shit and rubbish is on a card. So the most doom fight, fellas, we've got some strong contenders here. I've been keeping track of them, and the first contender is Cedricus Mass versus Zach Reyes. That fight, oh man, the reason why I get so hype about thinking about this fight is because back when the channel first started, I was actually spinning the wheel of doom, and it was spinning onto a random fight, and that was the fight that was going to be officially doomed. I might bring it back one day, but the first one that it spun up that we actually got right was Cedricus Mass, and I said this fight's going to be something fucked up and it's going to be a no contest. And of course, Zach Reyes kicks him in the bloody future, ruptures his ball sack, and the fight gets called off, and Cedricus Dumas, poor cunt, he got his fucking future taken away from him. So yeah, that was pretty doomed, that one. Chris Barnett versus Hamdy Abdelwahab. This was just filth and slop and deserved to be on the doom index for sure. Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Oh, brother, there's so many levels of doom to this fight, and the way that Tom Aspinall's been handled after that, crazy. Joel Alvarez versus Vicente Luque. This fight made me rage like crazy. I had Joel Alvarez locked in for a round 1 KO. Look, he got it done, but it was just the way he just did Vicente Luque and how boring and shit that fight was, and ended up sitting on top of each other for a round at the end. That sucked. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott. Oh, don't get me started on this fight, bro. Kevin Holland, he's a straight up bitch-made motherfucker, eh? Like, I hate Kevin Holland, and the way that he fucking handled himself in this fight, sitting there holding onto his dick, like he tapped a little cop, like, you get Waldo Cortez Acosta copping a shot to the eye and then bloody rubbing it off 2 seconds later, going to bloody finish Ante Delija. Kevin Holland gets a little clip to the bloody top of his pelvis, and he's going, oh, listen, I can't continue, trying to get the fight called off, but too bitch to actually say that he didn't want to fight. So yeah, that was retarded. Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Ante Delija. I just talked about that. That was completely that one. Got poked in the eye, turned around, knocked him out after, and it was just the fact that it was after the Tom Aspinall card. That was wild. Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frivola. That was crazy too. That was the one where the ref stopped at 10 seconds before the end of the round or whatever it was, a couple of seconds, and then Nelson ends up finishing him. And then Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny as well. Some more doom shit there where the ref fucked up a submission or like I can't remember. There was some fuck up at the end of the round for Jake Matthews and Neil Magny, and then Magny ends up getting the finish in round 2 or 3. So that was pretty shit. But those ones I forgot about. Obviously, they're not the winners. The winner for the most doom fight of 2025 has got to go to Aspinall versus Gane, bro. Just the legacy of this fight, the way that it was hyped up and built up. Well, not this fight itself, but the heavyweight strap and what happened with John Jones and Aspinall, and we were finally ready to get some closure. And, the fact that Cyril Gane got his title shot after bloody making a Paw Patrol movie and then getting a robbery win over Volkov, and he still gets to go, and we finally get the fight, and it's built up, and there's a big card, headline a pay-per-view, and Cyril Gane's winning the fight and, touching Tom, busts his nose up, and then we get the friggin' filthy eye poke, and Tom gets his orbital fucking scratched, and his eyeball gets spun around in his head, and we don't get any closure, and it is a no contest for the heavyweight belt that's been in an absolute shambles anyway, and it's never been more of a shambles as it is now. And Tom's not going to be fighting anytime soon. So fuck this fight. This just set the whole of the UFC fucking fandom back by 2 years. it was already bloody 10 years behind thanks to John Jones. So fuck this fight. Completely doomed. Let's move on. The Anderson McGregor Award, bro. This is it's named after Anderson Silva and Conor McGregor, and it's named after the most gross, disgusting injury, bro. And there was plenty of, and like not always just gross looking, but just career altering. Like the guy who got fucked up and injured the worst in 2025. So you got Alexandre Pantoja. We saw that one just happen recently, UFC 323. Don't actually know what happened. They were saying it was his shoulder or something, but I thought it was his elbow. But he just snapped that clean. Tom Aspinall getting his eyes fucking rearranged and turned full 360 in his sockets. Stephen Thompson getting his leg busted open, cuz against I think it was Gabriel Bonfim. That was nasty. That was leaking blood all over, and that was a nasty looking gash. Aaron Pico, he got his fucking head exploded and his jaw smashed, I think, by that spinning elbow by Lerone Murphy. I saw some post the other day where he said he's only just getting back to training after that. So, yes, must have had some pretty serious damage. Jared Gordon, before he fought Rafa Garcia, got his fucking leg run over by a car or something and still fought the Mad Dog, but that's why he had the knee brace on and shit. So it can't have been that bad because he fought, but that's still pretty hectic. Cedric's Dumas, bro, that nutsack explosion. Whoa, that would have looked like fucking the BME Pain Olympics if you blokes know what that is. Cedricus, rest in peace, your nutsack, brother. Kiefer Crosby, we spoke about him getting his fucking jaw smashed by that knee. Volta Walker, bro, he got fucked up too. He snapped his, I think it was his leg snapped. We didn't even know about it. He won a fight with a snapped leg, I think, or he had it before the fight or something. I saw the x-ray of that and it's completely snapped, so that's pretty fucked up. And then I just added this one last minute after last weekend's card. Sean Sharaf, bro. Oh, after that fight with Stephen Arse Plunderer, and Sean Sharaf gets his whole head split open so you can see his skull here, and here. In that video that Dana White showed, that was disgusting, bro. So lots of damage done in the UFC. We love it, but don't imagine these blokes love what's happened to them. As far as the Anderson McGregor Award, the winner, I think, of the most impactful, fucked up, hectic injury for 2025 is actually going to go to Big Tom Aspinall and his eye poke situation. Now, it didn't look at the time like it was the worst, and everyone was roasting and fucking memeing on Tom Aspinall for being a pussy. But if it's to all believed, if Tom's to be believed in this list that he came out with all the shit that's wrong with his eye and that he's getting eye surgery and that his orbital got cracked and his eyeball got fucking spun around and scratched and this and that and his retina's detached and all of this shit, man, Cyril Gahn must have got him pretty good. So, look, that's fucked up. And the other thing is I've got a bit of a thing about eyes. Like eye pokes and eye injuries and shit make me feel crook in the gut. So, yeah, shit luck, Tom Aspinall. The MMA YouTuber of the year, bro. Thank you. I'll accept this award. No, just joking. But the MMA YouTuber of the year, we have 4 strong contenders this year. Look, there's plenty of other good ones too. 5 good contenders. We're going to go with, first nominee is the MMA guru himself, the big goo, the Lord of Jerusalem. He's had a wild year this year, boys. He's obviously he's the main character of MMA YouTube. He's the biggest guy. He's the guy that inspired me to do the channel. He's the biggest guy, not just in terms of his fucking guts, but also in terms of his channel. He's massive. He's an institution. He's the goo, the mother flipping goo. But he's had a bit of a tumultuous year this year. Hey, he obviously got some big momentum going on with the Big Mighty Guru show, and that was taken off and getting bulk views, and he's had multiple dramas still going on. But he got cancelled, bro, and that's a big setback for the goo. Obviously, it hasn't really affected him that much in terms of he's still doing his thing, still got a massive fan base. But that was a bit of a setback for the goo. So a bit of a rough one for him. We're also going to nominate Flukas Glacy, bro. Flukas Glacy, this guy. The shortest retirement of the fucking UFC history, multiple retirements, friggin' Conor McGregor of MMA YouTube, basically. Hey, he just shines bright, burns out. We all think he's gone. He retires, he hangs up the gloves, comes back 2 fights later, and Flukas, we love you, brother. Keep doing your thing. Go have a little retirement, a little break whenever you want, as long as you come back and do your sick fucking shit that you do, bro. So Flukas Glazy's up there. He's still doing his thing. Bedtime, cars, holding it down for the Aussie MMA scene. Got to respect bedtime, bro. And we're also going to chuck in Hoppero MMA, bro. A pommy dude who just is the most active fucking MMA YouTuber of all time. This guy just pumps out videos in his sleep. I swear he must sleep 2 hours a day and just keeps pumping out videos non-stop, one after the other. Respect to Hoppero, bro. He's very, very solid, and he puts out good content too. And then, of course, the one and only Punch On's MMA. This guy, maybe he's going to be the rookie of the year, but this is the fella that he's going to end up in on the Mount Rushmore of YouTube MMA. Just watch it. You guys were here first. If you're watching this video, you're one of the first ones. You're early. But yeah, no, I'm only taking the piss. Punch On's long way to go, but I'm happy to be here, all right? All right, MMA YouTuber of the year. We made this decision based off a few different things. I sort of thought of it as the guy who has improved the most and risen and elevated himself the most in 2025. And in my completely unbiased Aussie fucking opinion, that is Bedtime MMA. Now, I'm not trying to fucking legit just glaze this bloke and fucking fondle his balls, but I rate Bedtime, bro. He's I reckon he'd be one of the boys. I'd like to hang out with Bedtime and have a beer with Bedtime. He's funny as fuck, bro. And the things that I like about Bedtime this year is, and the reason why he's going to get the award is because he's sort of broken through a bit this year. He's got his 100 subs. He started showing his face. He got on the big three commentary team. He's starting to do fighter interviews and stuff. He's elevating his content. He's active as fuck. He's still doing his streams and shit. Yeah, there's plenty going on for Bedtime. What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today you're going to pick up your award, cuz. Good shit, Bedtime. We'll punch on together one day. Moving on, we've got the most violent fighter. Fuck yeah, I love this shit. This is why we made the channel, boys. This is why we watch the UFC. I love a bit of violence, lads. And look, if you chuck these blokes in a room together, it would be chaos. It would be schizo, and I don't know who'd come out alive. Here are the nominees, lads, for the most violent, most crazy, schizo, chaotic fighters. We've got Yuri Prohaska, of course, Alex Pereira, Ilia Topuria, Diego Lopez, Jean Silva, Benoit Saint-Denis, Michael Morales, Carlos Prates, Kyoji Horiguchi, and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. I do not need to explain this choice. The winner, by a country mile, my favourite fighter of all time. You all saw it coming. It is Yuri Prohaska. Yuri the fucking man. Let's go for that. Yuri is the boss, bro. He's the final boss of the UFC. What he did to Khalil, bro. Fuck, man. That shit will haunt my dreams and my nightmares forever. Fucking crazy motherfucker. I cannot wait for the next Yuri Prohaska fight. Hope it's soon, bro. Hope it's against Ulberg for the belt. Yeah, something sick's going to happen. That would be mayhem. So Yuri, please never change. Please never retire. And if you do, I'm so glad he just had a little baby, because I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but I hope it's a fucking boy. Even if it's a girl, we'll have fucking one of the craziest female UFC champs of all time. So keep doing your thing, Yuri. We love you. Now it's time for the final section of these awards. This video is going for ages, so I better punch on with it. The crimes against MMA. And this is like the anti-awards. This is the shit cunts who have ruined our cards and that type of thing. Here we go. The referee fuck-up of the year. I probably should have called this the bloody Steve Mazzagatti Award. This is the shittest performance by a referee and the worst decision that they've made. All right, the nominees for this one, we have Big Dan Miragliotta's big legendary fuck-up in the Kyle Nelson versus Matt Frivola fight. This one was pretty epic, hey? This was end of the round. Kyle Nelson's on top of Matt Frivola, steamrolling him, dropping massive bombs, smashing him, busting him up. He's bleeding all over the shop. The fight should be stopped. We hear the bloody Bundy clapsticks go that show that there's 10 seconds left in the fight. Miragliotta acknowledges it and then jumps in with 3 seconds to go and separates the fighters. Nelson gets up and goes, holy shit, fuck yeah, I won. And then Big Dan goes, nah, man, just end of the round. And it was the replays show that there was 3 seconds clearly left in the fight, and then he just made the fight keep going. Now, luckily, Kyle Nelson ended up winning, I think, by decision. But yeah, that could have been a legendary fuck up. Speaking of legendary fuck ups, Jim Perdios over in Perth on the Ulberg Reyes card, he's reffing the Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny fight. This one hurt me a bit, because I had the whole card picked perfectly up to here, and I had a mad multi going, and I had Jake Matthews by KO or submission. And so Jake Matthews has got Neil Magny in a submission at the end of round 1, I believe, and Magny's in pretty tight, like he's not getting out of there, and I think it was like a Darce choke or a ghillie or something. Matthews has got it locked in, and then just before the end of the round again, the ref comes in and separates it a couple of seconds before the end of the round, and waves it off and goes, fight over. Magny gets up and goes, no, I was fine. And he was still in it. But then you hear the ref in the background. I watch this replay. The ref goes, no, fight's over. And then he goes, Nah, fight's still on. Like, fucking LG Perdios, you cooked that one, brother. And then the next one, the last one is Mike Beltran and his late ass stoppage of Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. Basically, Torres sits down Drew Dober and Dober's like half knocked out, but he's still clinging onto the leg, like panic wrestling Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres just starts teeing off on him with mad hammer fists, and the ref just lets it go for so long, and like only because like Dober was moving around and kind of still clinging onto the leg, but he was so obviously so knocked out and unconscious that Beltran, the big fucking fuck, he was too busy playing braiding his beard, and he just lets Dober take so much punishment, and that was pretty dangerous, that one. So all three of them pretty good fuck ups in different ways. The one that I think was the biggest fuck up, though, just in terms of how dumb you have to be to do it, and like if you have one job, like you got a couple of jobs as a ref, but one of them is like listen for the clap sticks. Yep, 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, when the horn goes, you got like 2 seconds to stop the fight, basically. All right, don't jump in early. So it's got to go to Big Dan Mergliotta for stopping that fight fucking way too early between Nelson and Frivola. Now the stakes, luckily, it didn't end up panning out to be that bad, but that could have been really bad. If Frivola won that fight, Kyle Nelson would have been bloody putting a hit out on Dan Mergliotta, I reckon. Anyway, let's keep going with the Jared Gordon Award. This one is for the biggest robbery of all time in 2025. Of all time, 2025. Jared Gordon, it's named after him because of the bloody Pimblett Gordon Award. That was shit. So the nominees for this one are Eric McConaughey versus Cody Brundage, Hamdy Abdelwahab versus Jamal Pogues, Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg, Myron Santos versus, what's his name, Marshall? Francis Fire Marshall. Martin Boudet versus Uran Satibaldiev was pretty rough. Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi. Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev. And, what's her name? Ketlin Vieira versus Norma Dumont. It was pretty hard to pick these, to be honest. They were all pretty shit. Now, a couple of close fights there. Blachowicz-Ulberg was pretty close. Yeah, Blades Kuniev, pretty bad, but pretty close, to be honest. The one that I'm going to pick as the biggest robbery of 2025, though, is Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi, bro. I don't know about this one, eh? Like, I picked Jose Aldo in this fight. I thought this is a pretty massive robbery. Hey, Aldo definitely won at least 2 rounds. The way that Zahabi fights, it does not encourage you to want to give him a scorecard. He's got a shit style. Now, look, there was some ass whooping going on in this round. Zahabi definitely clearly won. I think it was round 2 or something like that. But Aldo deserved that win, bro. And the sad thing was this was Aldo's retirement fight as well. So the judges should have been more inclined to give it to Aldo, but they ended up giving it to Zahabi. This is, Zahabi is a merchant for it too. He robbed Marlon Vera too. I forgot to put that on the list, but the Marlon Vera fight was a pretty massive robbery as well. So Zahabi, yeah, he wins the Jared Gordon Award basically because he is the guy that robs guys all the time. So fuck Zahabi. We don't want him up anywhere near the title anyway. Shittest card of the year, boys. I'll fly through this one. Like, they're all fight night cards. All the pay-per-views are pretty good this year. There was a couple of not as good, but in terms of the actual cards themselves and how shit they were, the fight nights were the worst ones. Dern versus Ribas 2. I think that was the first card of the year. Dog shit. Barber versus Blanchfield, which would actually end up being Gamrot versus Klein. Garcia versus Onama, and Bonfim versus Brown. I think of those last two, Bonfim versus Brown was probably the shittest. But the one that was clearly the shittest card of the year, it's got to go to Barber versus Blanchfield, a.k.a. Klein versus Gamrot. Yes, we got a 3-round main event of Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Gamrot, where Gamrot laid on top of him and got a fucking snoozy decision. And the fight was and somehow that was better than what it was booked to be. It was booked to be Macy Barber versus Aaron Blanchfield. And then as the bloody walkout music for Macy Barber's getting played, we find out that Macy Barber's had some kind of seizure or something, or doesn't want to fight, and the fight gets cancelled. So legendary dog shit UFC card. Not many are going to be worse than that one, I hope. Anyway, let's go to the Dominick Reyes Award, this award is for the guy who has let me down the most. All right, it's the guy who I just wanted to do so well, and they just couldn't get their shit together. So yeah, it's named after Dominick Reyes. We all love Dominick Reyes, and we all want him to be the guy, but he just keeps fucking letting us down. And then he tugs at our heartstrings, he comes back, and then he fucking lets us down again. So Dominick, at least take us out to dinner before you decide to fuck us, all right? Here are the nominees for the Dominick Reyes Award. We have Jack Della Maddalena. This guy, biggest letdown. I hyped him up so much in my videos, and then he gets just laid on by Islam. DDP, same shit. Shavkat doesn't even fucking turn up for a fight in 2025 after all the hype and all the sick performances he's had. Ilya Taporia, at least he fought in 2025, but this whole bloody custody shit and domestic violence shit he's got going on, that's just a massive letdown because we want to see this guy in the cage. Leon Edwards, I don't even know I put him in here. I enjoyed watching Leon Edwards' decline, but if you're a Leon Edwards fan, you'd be feeling pretty let down by this guy. Got finished in 2 different ways, submission and KO this year. Raoni DeRitter, oh, that was pretty dirty, man. I had a lot of hype on Raoni as well, and then he just got done dirty by Brendan Allen. Dominick Reyes has to be in the running for the Dominick Reyes Award. And Tommy Aspinall, he's a fucking bit of a letdown this year as well, but not entirely his fault, not really much of his fault at all. The winner, sadly, of the Dominick Reyes Award, it pains me to give this award out. It's got to go to Jack Della Maddalena. This one fucking sucked, boys. I'm not ready to talk about this one. JDM let us all down. I don't want to say it's his fault, but yeah, it kind of is. Learn to wrestle, bro. Like, fuck, it's Islam Makhachev. I don't know. Anyway, let down. DNB of the year, boys. I like drum and bass too, but it's not about drum and bass. We're not dropping a beat like... We're not dropping them ones. We're going to go with the do nothing bitch of the year. You do nothing. You do fucking nothing. You do nothing bitch. The motherfucker who just sat around doing sweet fuck all year and called it a day and calls himself a professional fighter, right? Hamzat Chimaev, yeah, look, he's a do-nothing bitch usually, but he's probably one of his better years this year. He still turned up, but he laid on top of fucking DDP and did nothing that whole fight, so fuck you, Hamzat. Tom Aspinall, again, not his fault entirely, but he still ended up being a do-nothing bitch, and then he gets his eye poked, so fuck him as well. Sean O'Malley, this guy hasn't even had a win in 2025, sat around and got his title shot against Merab, rematch that he didn't deserve, and then gets dominated easily and looks like he'd just been playing Warzone the whole bloody fight camp, and then hasn't fought since. And then until 2026. Movsar Evloyev, bro, who even is this guy? Who cares about this guy? He can't even claim a title fight anymore because he's done nothing. Justin Gaethje, bro, what the hell? He's just sat around bloody whinging saying he's got to retire and doing nothing all year and somehow gets rewarded with a title fight. Shavkat Rakhmonov, cuz. Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck Shavkat Rakhmonov, cuz? I haven't seen him in years, bro. He was meant to be fucking the next best thing and just doesn't fight, gets sick, bloody visa issues. Fuck knows what's going on with Shavkat, but he's going to have to start calling him Pussycat because he's doing nothing, eh? He's a do-nothing bitch. Sean Strickland, he fought, I think, once this year. I think he got his title fight against DDP. Again, another sook that sat around waiting for a title shot, and then he gets his shot and gets completely destroyed and does fuck all the whole fight. And then all he's done ever since then is just get on Twitter and rant about other people and whinge about Hamzat being the champ. And then Arman, bro. Arman, he's a little bit less. He's less in my sights right now because he was a do-nothing bitch for a long time. He didn't fight for 18 months or something after the Oliveira win, but he's managed to claw it back, get his Dan Hooker main event fight, do really well at that. But now he's getting frozen out of the title picture, so he's a bit of a do-nothing bitch as well. The winner of the DNB, the do-nothing bitch of the year, you know who it is. You could have felt it by the tone of my voice. Pussycat Duckmonov, bruh. Fucking ducking everyone, everything, doing nothing, not fighting anyone, not even a contender. He should be friggin' removed from the rankings. He should be removed from the UFC. He just is not an active UFC fighter. He basically is not in the UFC. They should take him out of the game, bruh. Like, he's that bad. He doesn't fight at all. And now he's on the bloody internet, bloody being a Twitter warrior, talking shit to Joaquin Buckley. What are you trying to fight Joaquin Buckley for, bro? Like, fight someone who's good. Fight fucking Usman or something. Like, anyway, Buckley's good, but I don't know why he's looking to fight down the rankings. Maybe he deserves that because he's not been active enough. But yeah, do nothing, bitch. Fuck you, Shavkat. Get in the cage, bro. And then we have the Joe Rogan Award. This is for the shittest commentator of the year and the commentator who pissed me off the most and just annoyed me with their cringe and bias and repetition and just same old shit every single card, and they're basically massive casuals like Joe Rogan. The nominees are Joe Rogan and DC. Both of these motherfuckers piss me off all year, but no one deserves the Joe Rogan Award more than the man himself, Joe fucking Rogan. I would so happily love to see this bloke just retire from commentary, go and talk about steel cups and friggin' leg locks and shit. And people forget, man, on his Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Good podcaster, mate. Shit UFC commentator. no. That's all he does these days and talks about steel cups and leg kicks. So, Joe Rogan, please, bro, retire. Hang it up. I'd rather Laura Sanko. I'd rather Fitzy. I'd rather Felder. I'd rather DC, bro, and that's saying something. So, I'd rather bloody Dan Hardy. I would rather listen to Kamaru Usman. I would rather listen to Michael Chandler. Bro, there are so many people I'd rather listen to than Joe Rogan. I fucking can't wait. I hope Paramount brings out the option to turn the commentary off but still hear the cage sounds, because it's shit having to mute the fights just so I don't have to listen to Joe fucking Rogan. So congratulations, mate. Take your award and fuck off out of here. All right, but we're going to go to the last award, boys. This list has been extremely long, but, very prestigious. Thank you for hanging around till the end. If you have, we're going to finish off with one of my personal favourites, which is the most cooked performance of the year. The performance in 2025 that just left me thinking, what are you doing, bro? What was that, cuz? Like, holy shit, you just completely cooked the chook then. You just fucked up big time. So there was plenty of those moments throughout the year. I took note of them. These are the ones that I remember that were my favourite ones from the second half of the year anyway. We've got Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell Jr. Bro, I think I coin flipped this fight and I got Lucas Almeida, and I just remember watching him come in there looking like he was not even a trained fighter. Like he was some bloody primary school kid pulled off the playground. Got fucking starched immediately by Michael Aswell. If you haven't seen that, jump on Fight Pass, have a look. That is one of the most easy ass whoopings I've ever seen in the UFC. Almeida got fucked up by Michael Aswell, who's not even that good. Kevin Holland versus Mike Malott, one of the most embarrassing performances of all time. Talked about it before, kicked in the dick, whinged about it for fucking 20 minutes, held up the whole bloody card, was too much of a bitch to actually say he didn't want to fight, which is crazy to say, because if you don't want to fight, you're a bitch. But I'd rather you said, nah, man, my nutsack's destroyed, I can't fight, and got waved off, than the fucking shit that he did where he just basically would hang around and pretend he was hurt, and then as soon as he was like, nah, it's all happened again, he's gone like this, he jumped in and like nothing was wrong with him anyway. So Kevin Holland, shit performance. Tristan Vides, bro, that was cooked as fuck. I don't know if you remember that guy. He stepped in on short notice to fight Atiba Gautier after, I can't remember who pulled out. It might have been Robert Valentin, I think. But he just, this like fucking Walmart Alonzo Menafield just ran bloody zoomies around the cage just while Atiba Gautier just calmly hunted him down and then fucking kneed him and then put one on his chin and put him away. The guy just got slumped. That was. I felt bad for Tristan Vides there, but that was completely cooked. Raoni DeRitta's performance against Brendan Allen, bro, that was so cooked. I can't believe how good he started. He won round one and dominated, and then he just got fucked up for 3 rounds straight and then quit on the stool. That was completely cooked. He looked like he was crying in there, and then he just threw in the towel himself. He just said, I can't fight. So, love me some RDR, but that was a shit performance. Jalton Almeida's performance against Alexander Volkov, bro. Never seen a guy lay on top and win wrestling for 3 rounds straight and have 3 rounds of control time and still lose the fight, bro. That just goes to show how shit Jalton Almeida is and how cooked that performance was. Jalton Almeida basically changed the way that judges score fights in 2025 because judges set the precedent by giving Alexander Volkov that win based off like back damage. And no one argued and everyone liked it and everyone cheered, so they just kept doing it, And that's the judging expectation. So thank you for that, Jalton Almeida. Chris Barnett versus Hamdy Abdelwahab. They're both in there, both cooked as fuck, both fat rolls flying around everywhere. Disgusting, like shit-as fight. The lowest level heavyweight fight of all time, and that is saying something. So yeah, that was pretty wild. Cooked as fuck. Both got cut for it too. That's how bad it was. Isaac Dulgarian versus Yadir Del Valle. Completely cooked, bloody paid to lose performance. And then JDM, bro, losing to Islam. We talked about that one. Just the fact that he looked like he was in pain the whole fight. He was like grimacing and crying and like, yeah, I'm getting sad just thinking about it. We'll move the fuck on. The most cooked performance of the year, the one that I believe goes into the Hall of Fame and the annals of cooked shit performances and retardation and just annoyance and just someone who I would happily never see fight again, but I will watch just to watch him get knocked out. And that goes to Kevin, the Failblazer Holland, the 45-70, which is what his record's going to look like soon. The boom, the fighter who loses 2 in a row all the time. Fuck you, Kevin Holland, and fuck that fight against Mike Malott. The only redeeming factor about this entire fight was the fact that I picked Mike Malott by decision, and I was happy with the pick. But Kevin Holland, bro, dude, stop bunging that shit on. Your dick's fine. You got kicked in the fucking belly. It's a fight, cuz. If you don't want to fight, quit, tap or something. Don't just sit there holding your box for half an hour making us watch that shit. That was an embarrassing performance. Cooked as fuck. Get the fuck out of here, Kevin Holland. Whew. I'm puffed, boys. I need to bloody have a drink and a sleep after that. That video is long as fuck, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you're still here watching, you're mad dogs, because we just went through a whole bunch of crazy shit in a crazy year of the UFC. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the UFC this year. I always do. It was wild. It was always something new happening, something that pisses me off, something crazy new storyline, something different. And look, next year we're entering into a whole new era of the UFC. So the Paramount era is going to be wild. The first card's going to be crazy. I can't wait to go into the new year and cover some of that wild shit. I'm going to keep pumping out content over this little 6-week break as well. Got plenty more good shit to come. This is just the first of it, boys. Punch Ons is just getting started. So if you like what you see, if you want to see some more shit, or if you got some ideas for me, boys, jump down there into the comments. Tell me what you thought. Tell me if you agree or disagree with any of these. You probably disagree with heaps of them. I fucking had a few cooked thoughts in there, but that's just how my brain works. Alonzo Menafield picked a fair few of these awards, so you can take it up with him, all right? Make sure you like the video while you're down there. Give us a look on Instagram at Punch Ons MMA. I'm pumping out some quality fight graphics on there. I hope you enjoyed the awards. Don't drink too many cocktails at the after party. Don't spill wine on your suit or your dress, ladies. And I'll see you very, very soon on the next video coming to a screen near you. This has been Punch Ons. This has been 2025. Have a ripper Christmas and holiday, guys. Punch on.